they've gone across the road. They're actually looting in Milton Power area right now. All right, why not?
The issue is, and it will be how they breach this circle, because we've got the Knights sit smack bang in front of them. So whether or not they run into that team's a different one. They'll maybe hit the coastal road and maybe hit the miniature garage petrol station compound on the very northern edge of the circle. But if TSM do take the northern edge of the circle, they're banking on it coming with them, because it's all an uphill battle then to the central areas. If the circle pulls further away from the coastline, TSM have got an open road that they, well, not even an open road, excuse me, it's a complete open valley that they then have to make the way and traverse to the centre.
Crowd and Ents are very close to one another at the moment in those compounds. I think is that the warehouse and the houses, I believe, but it looks like they're very, very close to one another. You can see it's starting to get a little bit compact in there at the moment. TSM, they're just going to scout. They're just pulling up on the compound just on the edge of the circle and having a look at what the lay of the land is, really. You can see Wookiee going further down the beach to get a bit of information as much as they can.
Voxic we'll get an initial knock onto Crowcrown. This is where we get to this point where players are starting to peek and poke and get rather close to these scenarios and get close to one another. Neighbourhoods are getting a little bit rough.
That's a really greedy split for Crowcrown. They are two very strong positions they're in.
And they're about
the
to
scrapyard,
pinched by one leg.
Cramer's having a good look. Oh, all the Knights are coming. Yep. This is really bad because they've just had one knock there. It wasn't them that knocked it, but they're going to come around straight around the side there. Kramer getting tagged from behind. Alf Plays has got himself tucked in along with Drayden. Now Crowcrown do have the hillside, remember, but immediately pick around the side. Dream for you down. Alf Plays is left solo.
Nice work from Reels to hit the guy in the back line. Outplays obviously coming off the back of initially being knocked. Drayden's there to confirm, because you can see the bullets and the traces in the distance. Players are still laying down a bit of cover fire, but unfortunately for Crowcrown, they're getting shot from a different angle as well. It's actually Ens who were taking the initial fight to this one.
Drayden down to
finally, did he just confirm that?
Is he going to get flushed? I think he is. I think he's going to get flushed in a minute.
I didn't quite cop for that, so he's either only just got out of the way or he's dead.
No, he's gone. He's gone. Drayden got caught out. I think it was Ents in the top there, Rustamar or Mikaz. I didn't see which one it was that caught him, but obviously been taking pot shots the whole time because Crowcrown were there.
They're doing so much damage here. They're literally just tanking him up and keeping him pinned into a corner. I think it's a good read from the Knights. They've made full advantage of that initial knock that they took. They were out. TSM is basically in the position that the Knights used to be in. They've basically just moved into that location now. But
and it's their phase. Look at phase. Look at their positioning. Phase are down south of Yasnaya at the moment. They're way out of their comfort zone right now with their standard rotations. It's going to cause some problems. G2 just going over the bridge. Of course, they start in down in farm area, so they've come up there. It's kind of almost their standard path to go over that Rozhok East Bridge. Navi have also moved into Rozhok as well. Red Diamonds you can see up here. They've made their move out of South George, and surprise, surprise, they're coming in behind NIP because they do both take the same rotation paths.
FaZe and Navi have actually benefited from this.
You think they're the other side of the river? I'm not sure that's a benefit.
Up to this point, yes. They've benefited for now because they've they've had easy access into the circle and they've really had no challengers who can knock somebody on rotation. Depending where the circle goes.
Swung a bit south.
That's very yin and yang because the pond will really split it up.
This is phase 3, right? So phase 4 is going to pull away from that pond. So I'm thinking where Iroh is right now is actually a really good spot.
Which is interesting.
That's the garage, though. That's a tough compound to actually defend. Or NIP and Windstrike, you can see them all coming in once next to each other. I think they're all going straight to the same spot where Iroh is. They're going straight on top of where Digital Athletics is. That garage is going to be an absolute war zone. They're looking for shacks. They're looking for anything right now. Iroh finds MBS as NIP try to pull up to the garage. They're trying to swing around. There's only 2 members of Digital Athletics there, but that may well be all it needs. The 6mo gets 1, 2 down. A beautiful death across the road, and NIP, who just clashed with Digital Athletics for first and second in the last match, find themselves down to 1 player already, and Vard is running for it, but he's going headlong into M19.
This could spell disaster for NIP. 1 player remaining on the pitch, unfortunately. They do clash edge, just trying to find a location. This is what happens when you've got so many players alive. Squeak it, another one just barrels Magister straight off the back of the bike and finishes him with the mini at distance set. Will hopefully get inside this building. He'll block his way with the vehicle. Come on, son, you can find it. There we go. Batulin and the rest of Navi are set up just opposite the apartments in the little farm area.
Interesting read on this. So think of the path that NIP just took, right? They went charging across west to east, straight in there. Red Diamonds, who were just behind them, they took the exact same path coming out of South George. They've said, no, we're going to go all the way around the south. They went way over the west bridge of Rozhok. You can see they're taking this big swing around the south towards Yasnaya. I think they're actually going to pull up around the lakeside, the edge of the lakeside, and that's looking like where they might be going. If they go in any further, they're going to find FaZe. Not so hot.
Yeah, they might look towards potentially Yasnaya here if they do get shot as some kind of a respite, to be honest with you, because it's the only... Everywhere that they're in at the moment, they've got a couple of hay barrels. All right, no one's going to be behind them because they're all way up against the white, so that is a bit of a safety net, I suppose, that no one's going to be behind. Raise Your Edge are actually playing edge, so they're trying to find an entrance into this circle. It's going to be rough for them because if you go one way, you got Liquid, you go another.
They're going into TSM, aren't they?
They might actually batter TSM here. Yep. Head first.
This is the worst. I mean, still 16 teams alive, and Raise Your Edge are the one that may find themselves in trouble if they keep going further. They've spotted it, I believe, just in time. You can see Wookie up on high, giving them the aerial coverage, and look at the spread that TSM have. Rory's already within nade range on fast rail there, just trying to toss a couple out. Will get himself a smoke position. Gustav starting to spread, and look at the spread that TSM have. Wookie on high, Gustav middle, then two Michael and Rory down low. Really impressive spread, and Raise Your Edge realizing this is not a fight we want to take right now.
They're a team that really does well when they play in duos. You know, we see a few teams now that like to split off, but with TSM, they do actually thrive in two pairs of two, to be honest. Gustav as well on his own. He's a kind of man that can happily hold off angles single-handedly and cause problems for teams, and he's out there in the midst of it, and the rest of his roster, they might actually be able to reposition while he gives the information. As you said, Wookie's still up in the hills looking for some kind of a long-range shot, but that circle...
Yeah, let's talk about this, because this is a tough circle, because... I mean, A, you can see there's very little shacks, very little compounds. B, this territory between sort of Digital Athletics, Windstrike and Vitality, this triangle,
it's open.
It's really open. Yeah, there's not really much there, so you can't center unless you get in that shack. We just saw DA basically smash in NIP, so nobody's going to be looking at crashing that garage.
They're gone, mate.
Navi are trying to blast across. NIP do go down, so as we've seen so many times, you have a good game and then you have an absolute stinker. Team Liquid, what are they going to do? They're coming in out of the warehouse up in the top north side. They're trying to blast themselves in towards the shacks. Navi find themselves up the Harry Potter, but they're not inside the zone yet. Set, the last man standing for Crow Crowd, tries to spray down. I think it's Red Diamonds. It was best of luck of all people he finds in the back there. Samty Gemty getting picked off by Team Liquid, and it's going to be the Knights taking them down. That nade is great. That's going to net himself 2 kills.
Easy points for Set, last man standing as well, trying to do whatever he can with 17 hit points as well. I mean, again, we've seen this time and time where single-handed players might... Whoa, that was close. Spearco goes flying, but they do at least get some sort of revenge. Still, though, no rest for the Wicked as the shots keep on coming from FaZe Clan, who do have a line of sight on them. FaZe have made it across from the opposing side on Yasnaya, just past the garage, and they don't really have much to play with, but they're using the wrong side all the way up against the water, so long as no one can pretty much tag them up from behind, to be honest with you. Kemba, Odir as well, will take down Batulin and finish him off. Pokemon has been knocked and confirmed, so G2 now opening up as we move back to Kemba's POV. And again, just the rotations.
Sadovnik, I think, is going to be the last man. Rekran's way outside the zone at the moment. He may be able to find the shack. There is one available, actually, to the left of him, I think it is. It's not so much a shack, it's one of these poles, which is exactly where Sadovnik's going to end up. It's not a great spot, but it gives him at least a little bit of cover. Rekran's going to go for it. No, he gets caught out, and that leaves Sadovnik the last man standing. I believe Ibi is also the last man standing for Team Liquid, because I can see James is done and dusted. There he goes, will bleed out. And now FaZe Clan, they've moved across. They've got to the edge side of this lake, and they're taking pot shots on TSM on this hill.
Caster the caster there, mate. You mentioned Navi, grenade comes flying through and puts them in the ground. Michael, top fragger for TSM, unfortunately does go down. Tixu catches him with the M24. Rory trying to make something happen, see if he can get him back up. Smokes are there, but unfortunately not.
Now this is
Rory goes down as well, so back to back just like that. Windstrike opening up into the hearts of TSM.
It's such a horrible circle for everyone. They will have been kicking themselves. As soon as they saw that shrink, if you weren't in that compound, and now obviously we're seeing right now why NIP wanted this garage. You know, this gas station's actually really strong right now at the moment because it has a really good field of view. and relative cover, because there is that little gap underneath the fence right on that compound, so it's not the greatest, but it's given them a chance. I'm actually impressed that FaZe managed to get out and over the river. They obviously ducked it down into the water and went across the edge there, which is why they're so close to M19. Speaking of M19, their compound comes into absolute view, as that is a prime spot, and everybody that's trying to hold those little edges, look to the north, look to the west, all these teams that have to creep in. And look at G2's movement already. They know the Jokers are above them, and then their Jokers have to push on them. Look at Chris go.
Yeah, we need to kind of stick with this one, because if they manage to clear out the Jokers from behind, then they can take the hillside. The only real threat that they have to deal with is potentially M19 if they can see them uphill, and maybe Mexi from FaZe if he does rotate to the opposing side underneath the bridge to get some kind of an eye line on them. Digital Athletics, again, they got themselves a decent compound inside this circle. Wookie still holding on for dear life. You can see Raise Your Edge, they're now coming down from the mountains. They've been there for a while. It looks like TSM's final man and his last stand has been at least spotted as the tyre from his vehicle is removed. Narcissus needs to look uphill. And again, this petrol station is going to be full of players. Are we finally... They come down from hiding, Lee, and unfortunately they're in open view of absolutely everybody.
Yeah, that's a massive crossfire coming onto them, isn't it? The smokes finally pop in. But I tell you what, a team that will benefit from this quite considerably is Winstrike. They're looking to collect a decent amount of kills. They got, I think, 9 in the last game, right? And they're looking to try and get a bit more. Uber and Fuzz FaZe Clan trying to collect as much as they can on that hillside and take pot shots. They're also taking shots onto red diamonds, which we're not seeing. They're off on the side. Ibiza has been found. He looks like he's just in the end decided to stick it out in the blue.
Oh no,
and
the vehicle.
gift a position, 13th place. Iro, Digital Athletics, they tried to make this move. They got pushed on by the Jokers, but it has not worked out at all. Vitality get themselves a big bite of the Jokers as well and collect a couple of points.
Raise Your Edge go down in 12th position. Kemba last man standing for his team.
The
Red
Diamonds
following up indeed, and that's good for FaZe because that's the only team that really had any kind of eye line on them, to us, really.
They picked up quite a few kills here, FaZe Clan, from this little coastline position they're holding at the moment. They've got nothing to worry about behind them. Mexi has made a massive swing way down south just to protect the side, so FaZe realize they have the entire eastern side of the zone right now.
That's exactly what I said. If he comes to the opposing side of the bridge, he can now keep control of G2 and give the information to the rest of his team. FaZe are actually spreading out and playing an amazing game right now. They are working with the little amount of room that pretty much all they have to play with is a ditch up against the backside of a river.
Ensign Vitality is trying to play this sniping game while the Pittsburgh Knights try and creep up behind them as well, and Ensign just trying to snipe off what they can from these two teams as they clash. Squeaky finds himself Monkey, looks towards Nasus. Nasus has to duck behind the Defilade and try and give what he can. Winstrike also trying to third party as much as they can possibly get involved. FaZe Clan themselves on the move at the moment. Fuzzface and Uber were trying to look around the backside of Ents there, trying to benefit from the fact that actually maybe close to being in nade range here, and I don't think Ents have a clue about it.
Yeah, Fuzzes, you can just see him in the distance on the backside of Ents. If he gets a good grenade in here, can we have a look at Fuzzes? Here you go, creeping up. We need to watch this one because Fuzz might be able to get involved here and go on clean up crew. He's called Uber for some support because they know there's a lot of battles with the Finns going on up here. Maybe they want to get involved in it because really, Aitzi and Mexi, they can't do too much. M19 are directly in front of them, but Ents now in the same position we saw previous when we looked towards Raise Your Edge and TSM. Really from this, where can you go?
G2, they realised, okay, time to go, boys. We're on the edge of the blue. They have to send it. They're going to be a double vehicle. Is it going to hit the compound? Is it going to be a compound rush onto M19? It may be. M19 slightly distracted. Digital Athletics taking shots at G2 as they try and blast for it. There isn't a great deal of cover on the side here, and you see them trying to bail out the car, but that's the two big boys down. It's actually Aitzi that managed to sneak a kill out of it as well as Brexico goes down. Kane will be flushed out in the end as well, and G2 will not be able to make that push. It's so hard to make an open run like that across the fields, and it was very easily spotted. But FaZe Clan are on the move again. They did get one knocked, by the way. They tried to engage with Ents in the top here. They did have a knock on. I think it's Fuzzface that was knocked there. Uber's getting back on his feet, though, while the Knights of Vitality continue.
Real's trying to stay alive in the open. K98 comes out, see if he can find the backside. It doesn't matter whatsoever. His teammates there to follow him up. Ents laying down in the dirt. Winstrike They smell them. Maybe they want to try and pick them off and claim their heads. FaZe Clan have actually picked up a crate while all this has been going on. They can also use that crate as cover from the backside of M19.
They thought the Jokers were cleared out. Kemba came from behind and just did the damage. Enough that he needed to do on Digital Athletics. And there's FaZe. They come back around. We've been talking about this one building for a while. They do sweep out Ents. They're going to go down in 6th place. So let's just lay the field for you. You can see over on this western side, Digital Athletics on your screen. They have to move out of this garage now, and it's a downhill run for them in towards M19. The Knights up in the northern side, swinging it around. We go towards the center. Windstrike still with 4 alive, I think, maybe in there. No, just the 3. Oh, they do have 4 alive. Where's the other one? Okay, 19 with 4 up as well.
Uber just went huge. Apps. Oh, wait a minute. He's got an AWM from that crate, and now he's got a pick on the compound where N19 are actually solidified. That's a big play. That puts pressure on them. Fuzz continues through. That's a grenade up and over. Bye-bye, Jorski. He's gone. FaZe are just taking people on 2 different fronts. This is unbelievable.
There's some big kill rounds coming out from all of the teams at the moment. 8, 7, 7, 6, 7. All these teams collecting a lot of points that the rest of the field are going to be very much envious of. Uber has been downed and kind of left at the moment. I think Mexi's going to come in and try and get the revive on him while Fuzz tries to get around the backside of Nookie and Teamy here as they try and get themselves covered off. Fuzzface actually off to the left of them. He should have an off angle here on, I think, Nookie. He's trying to get around the back of this vehicle compound. There's Fuzz. You can see him sneaking in. Nookie has no clue about this one. Doesn't expect someone to be flanking this much. Trying to go for that nade.
This will give away his
cooking
position.
It. He's cooking it. He's cooking it.
Over. It's coming in.
Oh, it's a good nade. Oh my he's got God. Nothing left, but he survives out of it. The circle, by the way, goes on top of these boys. And yeah, they shut that door.
How are you alive?
2 hit points.
And no helmet on his teammate as well. Okay, so these boys are heavily damaged. Their entire utility and
they picked up 9 kills again. That's 2 games back-to-back, 9 kills. That's really good points for Windstrike.
FaZe have been actually getting each other back up. The topography of the map's really good for them because they have that slight downhill structure that they can play off the back of alongside the smokes. They've been staying alive for a fair amount of time. Eitz is the man who can, though. He could really cause M19 an abundance of problems here. Obviously, once they come out of that Shackley, they're so heavily damaged. Their gear's all tanked up. Fuzzface might have a killing frenzy here as soon as they walk out of there.
Just as Mexi gets Uber back up, he's downed again. Immediately, the shots continuing to come through, but not able to flush them out, it seems. The Knights now taking the shots. They have this beautiful side angle on M19. They were worried about FaZe, but it's the Knights that are getting the cross shot, and just like that, Uber strikes and absolutely nails M19 out of nowhere. Constantine, the last man standing for them in the smoke. The Knights with 2 alive, FaZe still with 4 up. I think Mexi may just be able to crawl his way in, but now they're pushing on Windstrike. Fuzzface comes around, Nookie finally goes down, the nade will conclude it, and now Teamy isn't going to go for it in there. He's getting the support from Tixu, but Tixu's going to push from behind as well. He's going to get Fuzz down, Fuzzface goes down, he's flushed by Teamy as well.
Big kill there. They can at least claim one forward. M19 goes out, Teamy can continue. If he were missing any gear, he can at least get it back. Fuzzface's corpse, nades go out. He's got some sort of idea of maybe where they potentially are hiding. I think FaZe still have 3 up.
No, 80 down, and Uber's the last man standing for FaZe. The Knights just managed to get them as they tried to push down on towards M19, and the Knights are still looking really good here. Tixu, by the way, absolutely dead center. He's on that little telegraph pole, trying to do what he can to keep himself alive. Teamy, you can see, is still in that shack. If Fuzzface would have got that shack, it would have been great for him, but I don't think he got any nades left, and that's why you can see Uber's trying to nade as much as he can and try and clear something out, hoping he can cause a distraction. He's outside the zone. He's going to make a run. Has he got no smokes left? No, he's got no smokes. He's really just trying to bully his way out of this one. Yep, and gets caught out. Tixu not having any of it. And that's going to be FaZe Clan going down in 3rd place.
3rd place and a fair amount of kills. Not a bad effort there from FaZe. Made the best of a bad situation. Unfortunately, the plane wasn't great for them in their usual spot, and the circle couldn't have been as far away if it tried again. But we're down to our final 2. 4 individual players. 2 on the side of the Pittsburgh Knights. 2 on the side of Windstrike. Windstrike do hold the center here. So it's the Knights who really have to make the first initial move.
9 kills for the Knights.
If he gets a pick here, it's just pick and go, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Knock one and run.
That nade's a decent one. It was cooked a little bit, I would say. Probably could have done with a bounce. It did have a little downhill roll possibility, but can see Reels, the new man for the Knights, trying to get a pick. Teamy out the back, Tixu up close, still holding that centre of the circle, so it's really on the Knights to make the moves. If anything, Tixu just doesn't need to peek. He's going to try and cook another nade up, toss one out towards Reels, but it's gone too far to the right. Circle now, phase 9. It's centering, and it's Tixu going to be the focal point. Look at the Knights moving into 2. This is great.
That's nice. They're going as a duo, so they're going to work together. That has done so much damage. Now there's an opening here. Now they can flood the corner and rush him, take him out of his position, and then move on to the second one.
He needs
the repair.
To
This is a great amount of teamwork. Rather than splitting off between time and time again from individual players, they need to double peak this. Go as a 2, knock one, then go after the second.
I mean, do they even need to peak? The fact is, Teamy needs to move. Teamy needs to join them now because they've got the central point along with Tixu. It's down to Teamy to move, and it's going to be a tough push. Where did that nade go? Where did it go? Is it up and over? It's an up and over. Oh, what a nade! Oh, it catches both of them. They suddenly have to heal up. Is Tixu going to try and make a move on it? There's a second one coming around the back there. Tries to bounce it off the tree. Did you see that angle? He's playing pull right now, Tixu, as he tries to work these nades around, but they get themselves healed back up, and the moment is lost. And we're back to a 2-on-2, dead even.
So there's no push there because there's no knock. If he would have got the knock, they'd have gone for that one. They are allowed to get back to full health. Needs to be careful with the one player on the off angle. Now he sees him. Now they have the information. Watch from the opposing side, though. This could be dangerous.
Teamy gets one down. That's going to be the push now on Kramer. Kramer gets in and flushes it. Kramer takes Tixu down. It's a 1-on-1. Oh, Kramer gets inside. He's got no health left. Teamy realizes he's got to go for this. He's got no nades, 3 first aids. Kramer's going to get the heal off in time. Reels is going to give him the information. He says he's right on the pole. He sees him right there. So now it's down a straight 1v1. Kramer's been in this position before at GLL.
Teamy should have held W there and just gone for it, unfortunately. Now Reels have been able to feed that information to Kramer. He can just hold the angle, wait for him to come round the corner. Gets the initial. Pincer. Back and forth we go. Comes round the corner. Keep pushing, boys. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Teamy. Wins.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final game of the day of Erangel. 2 more Miramars to follow. It's a fairly westerly playing path, which will cause a lot of problems for the likes of FaZe Clan, TSM, the Knights. Well, I'm going to guess NIP are going to go South George this time and not head all the way over to the PUBG.
Are out with a plane.
Oh, they're going Zaki.
No messing whatsoever.
Is it new Zaki, remember?
Yeah, we've seen them do this before where it's an alternate loop, so straight out and straight down, no messing whatsoever. Raise your edge, go to the usual place up in the north side of George, where NIP will be lingering down on the southern edge.
Fast Rail's looking, he's like, what?
Oh boy.
Who's this?
We may have neighbours.
We've got someone.
We may have noisy neighbours. It's, yeah, so that could be actually quite dangerous from there on. So obviously Raise Your Edge not having the best of events so far, and now you've got FaZe Clan knocking at your door. That could be problematic, so keep your eye on that one. Red Diamonds just hitting the ground any second and be able to take up position around the hospital side. Obviously Windstrike Gaming moving throughout the fields of Gadka. The Jokers, they'll be kicking things off over by the ferry pier. Let's take a look at the more central area. Obviously, generally speaking, everyone should be in their usual spots. G2 and TSM, you might have an early scuffle. You also actually might have an early scuffle coming out of the Knights as well if you're looking for early vehicles.
Yeah, and that's what I was just looking at. I was looking at Liquid, just how deep Jeems was going, just to secure all vehicles around Pachinki. Really, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, they went Novo last time and it went far north, so at least they get them on this time. But okay, a Northern Circle. I like it. It's looking like it most likely will head to the northern side of the circle as well, because there is actually quite a chunk of water in this circle.
You know for a fact that Na'Vi are just like throwing pens and paper and smacking desks again, like, why is this happening to us every single time? And they just move all the way down onto Nova. I suppose that it's always been kind of the running issue though, right? If you take Sosnovka, you run the risk of circles being always against you and your back always up against the wall. But, I mean, it's either that or at the end of the day you play off against Team Liquid every single time. And I must say, Lee, Team Liquid so far, I don't know what your opinion is, but we haven't really seen that PGI Team Liquid with Scoom been on there and days of glory gone past. We didn't even see it at GLL, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it, right? Obviously, they had the big money move. Nobody really came out with an official figure of how much it was, but, you know, Gem Team moving from FaZe Clan to Team Liquid, that would not have been cheap. There's no doubt about it. You know, we don't talk about transfers too often, but that was a big one. Probably one of the biggest we've had in the game, I would say, so far. You know, joining up the brothers, Jemti and Samti. But like you say, I mean, if you look back to GLL, Season 3, it was
awful.
It was an awful performance. It was a terrible performance. A lot of cross-calling. But I got to be honest, I am starting to see glimpses. We know they always have that snake ability in them. No matter whether they're down to one player, they're going to hit maybe top 5, top 6. Speaking of top 6, think of game 1 of today. The Mansion finished 4 alive. The only team with 4 alives in phase 9. The final circle, and they come out 5th place, and they're absolutely kicking themselves because, you know, they effectively used too much utility against the Knights and put themselves in this position where they basically had to do a naked run against the M19.
And then they got stabbed in the back by the snake healing inside the blue compound.
Yeah,
literally coming out of the blue, and unfortunately, just kind of didn't pay out for them. I suppose another thing.
And you looked at obviously the last game, they were up in the warehouse. They tried to make this effective mad dash to a shack. And they just got absolutely ripped apart. Ibi was last man standing, no chance of getting in. So I think they ended up going about 13th, 14th. It was quite a low position for them. And, you know, we were looking at the points a moment ago. I didn't quite catch their exact position this game. They were definitely within 1 point of 10th, though, in the previous matchup, which is a very, very low position when you think, obviously, they are, or were, the most consistent team of 2018.
Do you think it's fair we can say that you can probably write off the first 3 games to them as well, and the fact that you had Navi knocking at the door every 2 seconds?
Oh, yes. I mean, that obviously has played a big part tonight on... It wasn't was it just the first 3 games? Did they do any more? No, they didn't do any yesterday, right?
Because coming into game 2 of the best went, nah, we're not doing this anymore.
So it definitely played a role in that. Obviously, you know, if you look at for example, you look at the drops, how they did it today, like just in this game right now. They are on the move again. Well, we're probably close to the 4-minute mark. Yeah, 4:50. So they're actually a little late this time. But yeah, the 4-minute mark. They actually secured all vehicles around the edge of Pachinki. Obviously, they couldn't do that when Navi were there. So there has been changes. There has been adjustments. And I've just been talking to Luke, the manager of FaZe, outside as well. And he's obviously talking about the FaZe boys. You know, starting to get going, but still making small mistakes. Like Fuzzface's push on that shack was really something he shouldn't do. He shouldn't do that solo. Uber was behind him. Should have 2-man pushed it. And Team Liquid are in a similar position. You know, they're a team that bring with them a massive reputation. So there is massive expectations to go with them. There are 4 superstar players on that team. So when you see they're not in a top 5 position or top 4, because that's what we're looking for, right towards the FaZe Global, it stands out massively.
Yeah, so I suppose now they've got to come off the back foot and kind of rebuild that. As you say, we are starting to see signs of life coming out of the Team Liquid boys. Take a look at this map as a whole and see where people kind of stand, and we'll talk about the bigger picture here, where the potential choke points, where the potential crashes could be happening. Still got a fair amount of teams all the way down in the south. G2, TSM yet to make a move. The Knights, they've also got to do the same. The Joker's still lingering around Ferrypier. Navi kicking it and still chilling over on Sosnovka Island. So quite a lot of manoeuvring still to do. Everybody banking that it is going to go north, obviously with how the water circles will be working, and you get to phase 4 and everything else moving away from water. Everyone's still kind of banking on heading up north. Players have moved just more to the left, more towards the right hand side, taking just on the off angle of Severny and shooting range and hoping it kind of comes their way. One player turns up.
Has to get worried because suddenly they start shuffling down a little bit, you know, if they're not picking up the kills. Iro looking to try and get himself